Hello and welcome. We are continuing on our lessons with chapter 6. So what you need to do to prepare for this lecture, because we're going to be working some calculations together, is get your book open, please, to page 254. Grab a pencil, a paper, and a calculator, and shut off the tape if you need to pull that all together, and then we will get going. Okay, so in this chapter, we're talking about credit, and we reviewed open credit, which is essentially credit cards, and then we talked about home equity lines. We talked about revolving lines of credit. We talked about how interest rates are calculated. And now we're going to actually look at a credit card. We talked about how to open a credit card, how to establish credit. This is just a super important chapter, especially for some of you that maybe are younger and are just entering this world. And so now we're going to look at a credit card statement, because if you get a credit card, you're going to be getting these, probably digitally, but nevertheless, you need to really look at them and understand what's going on and verifying. So we're going to go through this together. It's on page 254. And so first off, just take a moment, please, and you can turn off the tape and just really look at the statement. And I'm going to ask you to answer these questions. So first off, what dates does this statement cover? Second, I want you to tell me what's the ending balance. So how much is due today? What is the monthly rate that's being charged this customer, Mason and Autumn Palmer? And we're going to verify the finance charge. And then if they're only paying the minimum balance that's required, or the minimum payment that's required, what percentage is that of the minimum balance? So go ahead, please turn off the tape, spend some time looking at the statement, and then we'll meet back up and go through these questions. Okay. So first question, what date does the statement cover? So I'm looking up in the top right-hand corner of the statement, and the dates are the 24th of October through the 21st of September. Second question, what is, let's see, where am I? What is the ending balance? How much do I owe? Well, you can get that a couple different places. If you look on the top left, under account activity, it tells you what you owed at the end of last month, how much you paid, your new purchases, and your finance charge. And so the ending balance is $534.08. And you can also see that all the way on the bottom, kind of in the middle there, new balance, $534.08. Okay, what's the monthly interest rate? So over on the top right, like I said, you always have to have your rate stated as an APR somewhere, an annual percentage rate. It's part of a Consumer Protection Act, so that you can compare rates. And you see that the annual rate is 18% and the monthly rate is 1.5. If they didn't give me the monthly rate, I could have just taken 18% and divided by 12. And then the next question is, if I'm only paying the minimum required payment, what percentage is that of my balance? And we just did the balance up here. So I've got to go find my minimum payment, which is all the way bottom left. And every statement's going to look different. So all this information has to be there somewhere, but there's not like a standardized format. $27 divided by 534. Is that right? 27 divided by 534. Yeah, it looks like the minimum payment is about 5% of the outstanding balance. So the last thing that we need to do is go verify the finance charge. Now, the first thing I want to tell you about that before we launch in is there's two different ways to calculate finance charges, and a credit card company can do either. They both will look at your average daily balance. So let's look, for example, like these folks, they came into the month, they owed $83.75. And then they didn't do anything until the 8th of August. They made a purchase. Hacienda Motors, Rico's Restaurant. And you know what? I just noticed something. Pardon me. You probably caught this, but of course you can't say anything because we're not interacting. The dates that the statement covers. Sorry, I missed this. Is not what I originally said. Okay, so up here at the top right again, the statement date is the 24th of August. The payment date is the 21st of September. So I'm backing up 30 days from the statement date. This is the time period that the statement covers. So my bad when I had that up there before. So back here, so you can see they made some purchases on different days and they had their payment, et cetera, et cetera. So to calculate interest, we need to set up a table to ascertain with their purchases and payments, how much was their average daily balance over that 30-day period. And there's two ways to do that. One is excluding new purchases. So that's just super easy. You take the beginning balance and you take the ending balance and you divide by 2. And that's your average daily balance. So that's the principal in the interest equals principal times rate times time calculation. So average daily balance, including new purchases, that gets a little bit more complicated because every time they make a purchase, you have to recalculate the daily balance and then figure out how many days it stayed that number and then until it changed again when they made another purchase. So this one is, the first one is usually more friendly. Well, first off, it's way easier to understand. And second off, it usually will benefit the consumer. The second method is the one that's usually used, obviously, because the credit card companies want to maximize. So what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper and set up a matrix, and it's going to look like this. So this is calculating or verifying finance charges. So, and again, in this one, it's not a very big number. It's like $4 or something. But you know, you always want to know how your finance charge was calculated. So the first, you're making this matrix on a piece of paper, is the number of days that balance was outstanding. And let's see, dates. So the dates, the days, the balance, and then the calculation. So these are your four rows or your 4 column headings, and we're going to fill these out every time the average daily balance changes. We're going to have a new row. So we're starting with the date that of the statement. So 7, 25, 21. And then you need to figure out, well, it stayed that balance for how long? Like, when did it change? So if I look at the statement, it changed when I made that America West Airlines purchase on the 21st. So, okay. And the balance was my beginning balance. Just verify here, 203.64. 203. Right, because that's what I started the month with. Previous balance 203.64. So then the next question is, how many days was it $203.64 before it changed? And honestly, just count on your fingers. 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. I'm done with July. August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Okay. And then on the 8th, it changed. So 14 days, it stayed that number. And let's see, on the 8th, it changed because I made the purchase. Okay. So again, count on your fingers, verify that you got 14 days. And then on the 8th, it's going to change because I made that purchase. So what we have to do now is you just multiply these, the 14 times that balance. And at the end of the month, we're going to divide by the days in the month and get an average daily balance. Okay, so let's try the next one. So on 8/8, I make that purchase. What does my balance go up to? It was 203.64. And I just bought another $42. So now my balance is 245.64. How many days did it stay that? And so you're going to count how many days until your next purchase. So 8/8. And then my next purchase was the 13th. So this is what it was through the 12th. So 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 5 days. Okay, turn the tape off, go ahead and finish it. And when you're done, I want you to total the days and the calculation. Shut off the tape, finish for these last 3, and on the date where you have the payment, then obviously your ADB goes down, right? So go ahead, stop the tape, finish this off, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we've gone through the second row together. The third row, I've only got my outstanding balance for 1 day on the, wait, so it changes on the 13th. Sorry, let me just go back and see this. So on 8/13, it goes up from 245.64. I add another $166.86. So now it's 412.50. And the question is, how long did it stay like that? So the 13th, it was like that. The 14th was like that. So it was for 2 days. I think the PowerPoints they gave us may be wrong. Okay, so it was like that for 2 days. So Let's pull that down. Okay, then on the 15th, I make a purchase. Oh, this is confusing. I see the payment was posted down here on the 12th. So that was only one day. Oh, goodness, that's kind of confusing. Do you see what I'm talking about here? On the 12th, they actually made that payment. So it came down from the $245.64, they made $119.89 payment. Sorry, I don't know why that isn't in order. That's quite confusing. So this is correct. So it's $125.75 for one day, and then on the 13th they buy the Hacienda Motors. So it's $125.75 and add back that $166.86. So now I'm at $292.61. It's like that on the 13th. It's like that on the 14th. So for 2 days. And then on the 15th, I make a purchase at Rocco's Restaurant for another $132.47. Then it goes up to this balance and it stays like that. The 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So it stays like that for 9 days. And then on the 24th, I make another purchase, and that is the last day of the period. So now I'd asked you to total up the first column and the last column. So if you total all these up, that should come to 19, 20, 31 days, which makes sense in a 1 month cycle. Add up all these numbers. And here's the kicker. We're going to now divide the 8,900 by the 31 days. And that is my average daily balance. Then we're going to do our calculation that we've been doing all along. Interest equals principal times rate times time. And my principal is the ADB. My rate is from the card, 18%. And my time is getting a little more sophisticated. It's not divided by 12 anymore. It's actually calculated per day. So my denominator is the number of days in the year, and my numerator is the number of days in this cycle. So I think my interest or my finance charge should be $4.39. I go look at the statement, top right, there's an area called this month's charge. And indeed, they've gotten the $4.40. And that's how they've calculated my finance charge. So we looked at this again. It can exclude new purchases, which is just beginning and ending balances divided by 2, or they can go through what we just did, which is much more complicated, but usually benefits the credit card company. Okay, so I'd like you to go ahead and set up another one of these charts and do another one of these. So I come into the month with a balance $1,582, which you shouldn't be having because you should be paying your credit card off every month. Then on the 6th, I make a purchase. On the 13th, I make another purchase. And on the 28th, I actually return something. So my balance goes down. And there's 31 days in July. So shut off the tape, set up the exact same 4 columns that we just did, and calculate the monthly finance charge. So this, I guess a piece of information you needed was what were the dates that the I'm sorry, this is a little, this is my bad. This is, the statement is October 10th through November 10th. So here's the balance. I don't, that prior tape shouldn't, or screen shouldn't have been in here. So, and then on October 15th, I purchased this. October 22nd, I purchased this. And on the 6th, I made this payment. So if you did this one, which makes sense, you would have done it, and I can give you that number. So this is another one to work, essentially. This has got some additional information. It's got some different dates. So work this one, which you did, and then work this one that's got some different dates, same APR. And again, just calculating interest equals principal times rate times time. So this one would have been $38.22. And I'll actually go work this, and I'll just post it on Moodle what the answer is to that one. I don't think that this slide was supposed to be in here. Okay, and then you're going to have one of those to do in your homework too. So you'll have 3 practices: the one that I did in detail, the one I'm going to give you the answer to, and then the one that straddles the October, November timeframe. Okay, so managing your credit cards, this is what we've just been doing, is looking at our statement to make sure that everything is verified. They're just, you know, I mean, I've found mistakes on my credit cards for sure, or all of a sudden something will start showing up like $1.99 a month is posting from some weird, I don't really recognize it. Lots of times, not lots of times, but that can mean that your identity has been hacked, and it's just such a small amount most people don't bother with. So really, really, really pay attention to your credit card statements. Obviously, like we've talked about, try and pay the entire amount to avoid any finance charges, and always try and pay more than the minimum. So this is just a website you can go on to see what's happening as far as competing companies. I've already offered you that other link that's specific to students, but if you're maybe a little bit older and already have some credit established and you want to see what's out there from a comparative standpoint, go check that out. We've talked about all this, reducing your number of cards. You want to have everything consolidated, in my opinion, in one place. If you do have multiple cards, always pay the ones off with the highest finance charges first. And if you can transfer balances and consolidate without paying a fee, and of course, watching for those teaser rates, then that is a good thing to do. Everybody knows that you get rid of old cards. You know, you check that the sites that you're entering your card on are encrypted, and reporting anything stolen immediately. I'm sure we all know the different ways that identity theft, you know, occurs. This is, you know, old-fashioned stealing, or you know, dumpster diving. I think probably those are much less common anymore than phishing or skimming and all these kind of high-tech techniques. So definitely my credit card, and a lot of credit cards, you can actually sign up for any, for getting emailed or texted or pinged if anything happens out of the ordinary. So, you know, if all of a sudden, like when we travel, we let our credit card company know, you know, we're going to be traveling internationally, or we're going to California or whatever. And so if there's something out of the ordinary, they'll let you know about that. So that's super helpful. And then again, just making sure you're looking at your statements. So bankruptcy, I'm not going to go too far into this. Hopefully that's not an issue. in your life, but it may be, and there's nothing shameful about it. It actually is quite a common occurrence. There's a couple different kinds of bankruptcy. Chapter 7, I think, is what most people think of when they think of bankruptcy, which is just your debts are sort of wiped clean. Chapter 13 is you have to actually work with the creditors, and there's some sort of a payment plan still in place. So maybe the end goal is you're paying 20 cents on the dollar that you owe or something. Basically, they'll say that bankruptcy will negatively affect you for, it used to be 7 years, now it's supposedly 10. I talked earlier about how would you reestablish credit after something that decimates you like bankruptcy, and that would be with one of those secured credit cards where you actually buy a CD and then you give the title to the CD, the collateral to the credit card company, and then they'll issue you a credit card. You can start to reestablish credit, pay it off every month, and after a certain amount of years, they're going to give you back your CD. Okay, sorry about the kerfuffle with that bank card statement. I will definitely go work this one, and I'll just post that answer on Moodle, but take the opportunity to do the one with this data as well, please. Okay, thanks so much. And if you have any questions, let me know how I can help you, and take care. Bye.